some of the ladies that are not able to join on Zoom watch on Facebook. So I will keep an eye on there in case they have any questions for Lauren as well. Sure, I am here, and then I'll tag everyone. Hi, Vesta. Beautiful glasses, matches your
Hello.
dress.
I didn't plan that. I got like my nicer glasses, like real ones, but then I can't see the screen. They're the wrong kind of, So, oh well. Thank you.
Well, everybody, thanks for joining me. I know lots of you are excited. Jennifer's super excited because her business is with network marketing. And I have Michelle too, and maybe some of the other ladies have that in conjunction with their business as well, or just in general, wanting to hear from a super successful powerhouse such as yourself. So I met Lauren, I think we were Facebook friends to begin with somehow via the interwebs. And back when I was doing, so it's being streamed and then I can send you the recording afterwards. So I don't record on my computer because then my VA does all the magic. Saving storage. Hi, Sierra. And so I was doing in-person workshops and I remember Lauren attended one of those and then the pandemic happened and everything got disbanded. But we stayed connected. And we did meet in person. We had a meeting, I remember, at Stanley Marketplace once, which was nice. And then I saw you spread your wings and fly, get on TEDx and all the things and share your amazing story about your dad as well, which was a beautiful talk. And I can go and grab it and find a link for people to watch it as well. But without further ado, beforehand, I would love to welcome Sierra. So I already put her in the group and everybody posted on there, but I'm so excited. I love that you are on the moon right now. I don't know what this background is, but I love it. So she's our new member. She's makeup extraordinaire, and I'm so excited for her and the launch of her membership. And I know lots of us will be excited to learn from her makeup styles. So excited for you to be here. So ladies, go ahead and connect with Sierra too. And all right, so without further ado, I would love to, let me make Lauren co-host, and then she can tell us more about what she's got going on. So go ahead, Lauren.
Hi, how are all of you? Marta, thank you so much. I wasn't sure exactly when you wanted me to pop on right away, but it's such a joy to be here. And it's so funny too, when you look back, you're like, where in the world was like the first connection? And it was nuts because I think when we met, neither of us had written a book, and now we've both written books, and I was doing my TEDx and Marta was on the news, and we both just kind of have been growing our businesses. And one of the things that I love about Marta's community, without a doubt, and what we share in common is just surrounding yourself with people that want you to be the best, that encourage you, even if you're not doing business together, just to, how can I help you? How can I serve you? How can, I continue to encourage you? And Marta, you've always been that for me. And hopefully I've been that for you. So it's a treat to be here this morning. I am going to go through some slides, so I'll share that in just a second. But just out of curiosity, and you are not going to hurt my feelings. You guys have no idea. I mean, I'm like so thick-skinned, and not literally, but like, I just am such a truth person. If you can put in the chat for me, maybe on a scale of 1 to 10, like, what's your knowledge with network marketing? Like, 1 being I have absolutely no idea what, MLM's network marketing and direct sales is. A 10 being like, I have maxed out a compensation plan, or I've had a big team, I've been in it, my parents were in it, something like that. So Jennifer has a ton of experience. Couple 6s. 3, Jeremy the iPhone. I love that it actually says that. So cool. And that's fine. I always like to know. And then also, and this is why I told you, like, I'm thick-skinned. Like, I promise you that you're not going to hurt my feelings. I would just am curious where you are on like a negative experience to a positive experience. So like, again, 1 to 10, 1 being like, I hate MLMs. Everybody slides into my DMs from elementary trying to be my best friend, to get me to buy something I don't want. And a 10 being like, I've seen a lot of people have success, or I've had a great product experience from a network marketing company, that type of thing. So we had 10. Jennifer must be crushing it in the network marketing space. I have a 4, a couple 4s, and you guys don't have to answer. It's a way for me to kind of know like who I'm speaking to, and I'll kind of tell you my story as we get into this. But I just always love to know. And one of the things that, you know, Marta and I share in common, and that's what's the joy of being here, is network marketing can teach you so much as an entrepreneur and as a business owner, but you find that the skills are applicable in so many other areas. And that's really what I hope to give you today, is obviously not to like sell you into my company or like convince you why, you know, joining an MLM is the best way to go, but like, what have I learned and how can that really be something that can help you with your businesses today? So let me just get up to the top. Marta, can you see the slides there? Okay, excellent. So Marta came up with this very, very clever and fun title that's not loading. I don't know why it's being slow. So that's really what we want to talk about right now, right? It's like how to scale your business with network marketing and beyond. So I'll tell you a little bit about my journey and then hopefully some takeaways here on how you all can grow with what you're doing. So I want to take you way back, okay? Way back into my journey and what I used to be doing as an entrepreneur. So I'm almost 40. And I've been self-employed almost my whole life. So I like kind of early on knew that I didn't ever want to work in corporate America, like a 9-to-5 and having to wear a certain uniform or be on someone else's time. Like I knew early on wasn't for me, but I also really was doing things what I call the hard way. So I went to school until I basically couldn't go to school anymore. I have 2 bachelors and 2 masters, really not knowing what I was doing. And I, you know, 30 years old, I was $100,000 in debt and I was exchanging time for money, working all of these various jobs. So I was in the process of opening up my clinical nutrition practice. I had that for many years. I did functional medicine, but as I was growing that, I was personal training. I was teaching group fitness, about 15 to 20 classes a week. I was a nutritional coach at Vitamin Cottage. I ran these boot camps. I mean, I ran around like a chicken with its head cut off, just trying to stay afloat. So even though I could charge, you know, $100 an hour as a nutritionist, with taxes and all the business fees, my insurance, et cetera, there's no way I could get ahead. So from like 4 or 5 a.m., literally till midnight, every single day, I exchanged time for money. And all I knew as I was saying no to everything I wanted to say yes to. People would say like, Lauren, like Kenny Chesney's in town. And I'd be like, oh, I'm at the bar, I'm working tonight, you know, or my family, even on the holidays, I was like, you should sit in my section on Christmas Eve. I mean, that's like how I was going to see my family. And additionally, I have been introduced to many, many network marketing companies. I'm a nutritionist, so people would bring me their products and say, what do you think about this? And I thought, well, it's not a nutraceutical, like a practitioner line. It's not something from like the grocery store. You know, I thought, where are you even getting this? And people would say, oh, like my son's teacher gave it to me. And I thought, why is your son's teacher giving you energy drinks? Like, I really didn't get it. Or I was invited disingenuously to all of the parties. When I tell you guys I've sat through them all, from nail polish to bags to jewelry to sex toys, that one was always my favorite. You know, I was like, really? You make a living like selling lube? Like, not my jam, you know? But people would like cast this vision for me. But I have a lot of business acumen and I could just see the flaws of compensation plans and saying, this is why this company or this industry has such a bad reputation, because no one will make money in it. And so I was like running, right? I was like, I'm just going to keep doing it the hard way. I'm going to work my 80 to 100 hours a week. And I had ego out to here and I just wanted to have my own brand. I really didn't even know what that meant. And then life happened. So in September of 2013, I had 3 major life events happen, all within a short period of time. So the first thing was on a Friday afternoon, I paid off the IRS. For anyone who's a young business owner, make sure you are paying your quarterly taxes. I really had no idea what I was doing, but I had this lump of sum that I owed them, and I finally paid it off. I was like, okay, wrote my big old check to the IRS. I no longer was in debt with them, and that basically wiped out my checking and savings account. And if you didn't hear it before, I was massively in debt, mostly from student loans, but it didn't have a whole lot of extra. And that evening I left work and I got the dreaded family call that my dad had just been diagnosed with Parkinson's. And I share that because I was the youngest of 4 girls. At the time, I was not married. And even though he would have helped me in a second, back to my big pride and big ego, there's no way I could have asked for help given what had just happened to him. And then on that Sunday morning, my boyfriend, who I have been living with, we've been together about 6.5 years, said, honey, I love you, but this is not going to work. And so I moved out on Monday morning, and after putting down the first and last month's rent, deposit, everything that, you know, goes into moving into a new apartment, I sat on the floor of a brand new apartment with $17 in my name. So I was buried in debt. All I had was clothes. I had no furniture. I had no kitchen stuff. I mean, my absolute rock bottom. And I just remember thinking, if I don't do something different, like life is not going to be different. I've got to figure out another way, because there was no way I could continue doing in my 30s and 40s what I was doing in my 20s, nor did I want to. And so with a totally broken heart, right, and broken bank account, just started to pick myself up. I absolutely believe that rejection is redirection. And I knew at that moment that I wasn't going to blame anybody else. It's been a lot of time saying I wasn't making enough money. I had the wrong boss. My sisters were lucky. All the guys in Denver are bad. You know, I mean, I had all the stories in my head. And this was the first time that I said, you know what, Lauren, you've got to take radical responsibility for your life. And you are the sum of the choices you're making. And you have got to start to make some different choices. And so fast forward to today, next month would have been 9 years that I partnered with my network marketing company. It's been the best thing that I've ever done. Not only did it completely transform my health. If you have never heard that network marketing is a personal development program with a compensation plan, now you know. I am like unrecognizable. I think, you know, years ago, you know, mid, 2000s, 2010, I would have been described as unhappy, overwhelmed, stressed, terse, kind of rude, you know, like looking back, and really self-absorbed, not selfish, but I was just like so focused on everything I was doing that, you know, now to think that I've impacted nearly 30,000 people in my direct downline, but it has been a platform to really share my story, to ignite other people. And I'm just so, so grateful that I said yes to the opportunity, and I really leaned in to another way, because while I absolutely love the health and wellness company that I'm with, I love the team of people that I've met. I've loved the introductions of the community, and really just been able to dream so much bigger, but most of all, then be able to show other people how to do the same. So one of the things that I always talk about is your uncomfort zone. Okay. And I truly believe that when your back is against the wall, that is the key to that untapped success. Now, I don't think every single person needs to have a rags to riches. I don't believe that you need to hit rock bottom in order to have, you know, incredible success. But I do think that when we're looking to grow, we have to make ourselves uncomfortable. It's very easy to fall into stagnant routines. It's very easy to just start to going through the mundane. I get up in the morning and I do this, and this is what I eat, and I drive here, and you just are like going through the motions, that you're not creating, and you're not innovating, and you're not really feeling fulfilled. And so wherever you are in your business, wherever you are in your relationships, you just start to say, okay, what's going to make me uncomfortable, right? How do I put myself in this fear of being, you know, a little bit in the discomfort, so that then you can have the growth? Because if you do this in different areas of your life every single day, no matter what comes your way, you're like, I got this. And that's the whole thing. When I look back and I say, man, I had to hit rock bottom to be able to say, I got this. It doesn't matter what would happen. I love my husband dearly, right? Man, I'm so grateful for the amazing marriage that I have now. But I also know that, God forbid, if something were to happen, I will never feel the way I did in 2013, right? I'm gonna say, okay, I have the skills, I have the mindset, I have the confidence to be able to say life goes on. And I want to break down some of those, you know, traits, some of those habits, some of the things that I've learned that hopefully you can take away with today. And if you can, just put in the chat for me a 1 if you are familiar with the cash flow quadrant. And if you're not, that's okay, we'll go through it. But I'm just kind of curious a little bit of where you are. And this comes from Rich Dad, Poor Dad, the book by Robert Kiyosaki. Jennifer, my network marketer, like, of course she knows what this is. Liz says no. So the cash flow quadrant, and Robert Kiyosaki talks about this in Rich Dad, Poor Dad, but it's basically looking at the majority of how people are making money. And if you look at like the left side, that's basically like 95% of people, but they're only bringing in about 5% of the wealth. Where on the right side of the quadrant, that's where 95% of the wealth is coming in, but it's really only about 5% of the population. So when you think about an employee, like you have a job, right? You're an employee at Target, or you're an employee at CenturyLink, or you work for somebody. So there's no leverage, right? I mean, the amount of work is really what determines your income. So you're exchanging time for money. So when I think I was an employee at the bar, I made a certain amount of money at the time I was there. Or I was an employee at the gym, I made a certain amount of money when I taught my spin class. Now, the business owner is you own that, like you have a system and you have people that work for you, but it is still really limited. So if I own a salon, right? And let's say I've got 5 estheticians in there and 20 hairstylists. Well, I've got leverage because I've got people working for me, but there's still only so many hours in a day. There's only so much space to be able to bring people in that you can see the ceiling there. Now, when you're self-employed, you have maybe time, flexibility, or it's doing what you want, but you still don't have leverage. So when I think about when I opened up my nutrition practice, I was working on my own time, but I could only see so many clients in a day. I physically could, and realistically, the hours that people would come in. And so I was always going to be capped. And then the investor, you're putting money into something where your money is going to make for you. And that's where we start to open up this door for passive income and residual income. And Robert Kiyosaki really got popular for his model specifically around real estate. And that's what this is referencing. However, the network marketing space also uses this because it's saying, I want to figure out how to get paid over and over and over and over for a job that's done once. If you think about artists, they record a song and the blood, sweat, and tears that goes in to recording a #1 hit. But once it's out there and it's a top Billboard hit, every time it plays in a movie, it plays in an elevator, it plays on, a commercial, whatever that is, that artist continues to earn. And this was one of the first things that I saw that really made me think differently. If you've gone through your whole life, 2 + 2 = 4, I felt like 2 + 2 = 5. Like I've been lied to. Like I had to go to school, I had to work for 40 years on this fixed income. And I just said, there's another way to create passive income and residual income and diversify your income. And that was really the catapult for me diving into this business full force. So sorry, I've got a little stuff. So the next thing I want to just show you, and just really to bring a little bit of validity into the profession or figuring out how to scale your business. One of my favorite books is by Darren Hardy, and it's called The Compound Effect. And what he is showing is basically what happens with the sum of little things over time. And so the book talks about, have you guys ever heard the magic penny? If you have, put a 2 in the chat. And if you haven't, I'll go through it. But it's basically, if someone asked you, do you want 3 million in cash today, or a penny that doubles in value every day for 31 days, what would you choose? Okay, so most people say, give me the 3 million, right? I'm ready. I just won the lotto. Give me $3 million. And if you think about the penny, that it's like, okay, 1 cent, 2 cents, 4 cents, 8 cents, 16 cents, 32 cents, right? I mean, you're like 2 weeks in and it's like a couple dollars and you're thinking, wow, like I chose the wrong card. But by day 29, you have 2.7 million. So almost the equivalent to the person who took the 3 million. But if you stick with it, right, day 30, the magic penny is now 5.3 million. And on day 31, it's $10,737,000, et cetera, et cetera. And this is really what I love about network marketing. And I tell my team this all the time, because I truly believe at my core, and with every company and every business, is that people overestimate what they're going to make in the first year and underestimate what they can make in year 5 and in year 10. And the concept that if you think about it, just to normalize it, if I go out to eat, right, like we're super hungry, like let's go to this bomb new restaurant in Denver, and we show up and the hostess says, oh my gosh, we'll get you seated in 10 minutes. And like an hour later, we're still like, we're so hungry, we're so hungry, we're so hungry. And you think about how deflated you are, how frustrated you are. Where the opposite, if they say, oh, we're so busy tonight, we have a lot of reservations, we'll get you in as soon as we can, but it might be 45 minutes to an hour. And then they seat you in like 15 minutes. You're like, oh, hey, right? Like that was cool. And the same thing happens in, businesses and entrepreneurs. They're like, oh, you're going to work for yourself. You're going to make 6 figures in 12 months. I mean, come on, if it was that easy, every single person would do it. But if you say, hey, if you start to put in a little bit of time and you're really, really consistent, imagine what this can look like. And so when I build my business every single day, I know that I've created a financial wall around my family, but it's a legacy. It's something I can will away. And I think about this compound effect, that it's not what I'm doing, exchanging time for money. Oh, I'm going to take a spin class and make $25, but I'm envisioning this penny that's just growing and growing and growing and growing and growing. And the second thing that I really truly believe in scaling your business, part of it is this compound effect, right? Aligning yourself with people and everybody working together consistently, because you can either earn 100% of your own efforts, or I want to earn 1% off 100 people's efforts, 1,000 people's efforts, 10,000 people's efforts. And that's the compound effect. But the other is systems. When I first got started in this, and I was like the know-it-all nutritionist, and I could basically sell anybody on the products because of my background, but we weren't growing because people couldn't do what I did. And I realized people don't duplicate, systems do. And when you're looking at your business, whether it's network marketing or anything else, it's saying, how can other people do the same thing? How can this be replicated? If something happened to me, how does this well-oiled machine keep going and going and going? And that was one of the biggest lessons that I learned. I really had to slow down, to speed up, to put the things in place that anybody could slide right into it. And so I'll just segue for one quick second, but think about Starbucks. You guys, I'm going to offend somebody right now. Don't take it personal. I don't love Starbucks. Okay. I'm one of those people. I think the coffee is just not that great, but the business model fascinates me. Like, coffee has been around on the planet for however long, all around the world, and only Starbucks, they renamed the sizes, right? They created this thing, the pump. No, and someone said, can I have a little bit of vanilla, or can I have a hazelnut? I want 1.5 pumps of this and 1 of that, and light whip and whatever it may be that happens at the Starbucks situation, the small instead of the tall instead of the small, and the venti instead of a large. I mean, everything that was created. But if you order your foo-foo drinks, all my Starbucks lovers out there that are light ice, extra pump, extra shot, modified out the wazoo, if you order that in Singapore, if you order that in Auckland, if you order that in New York City, it's gonna be the same, right? Because there's systems. And that is something that when you're looking at your business, is how consistent is this? Because people are gonna buy things and they know, like, and trust. And people are gonna follow a leader that knows what they're doing, because they go, okay, I can do that too. So I believe so strongly in taking radical responsibility for your life. You guys, there are so many people out there that are so set in being a victim. Woe is me. Everything happens to me. Those people, right? They always have a flat tire. They always get the parking ticket. They never get the promotion, whatever that may be. And then there's some people that are like, well, that sucks, and they keep going. Or they're able to say, well, because I did this, XYZ is a result of what happened. And so when I told you, I knew when I sat on that apartment floor, I was there because of choices I made. I was never going to say, oh my gosh, that guy broke my heart. I remember thinking, he let me go. I get a clean slate. I get to start over. That wasn't my person. And I'm grateful that I get to rewrite my story, that I get to redesign who I want to be. When I, have had a speeding ticket, never like, that cop, you know what I mean? I can't believe he plugged me. I was like, dang, all right, I shouldn't have been doing this. And I also think I got protected from something greater. That's my own mindset. And so the language around this, if you have someone that's like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, I'm late, there was traffic, as opposed to the person that says, man, Denver is loaded these days. I should have left my house 30 minutes earlier. Or think about people that in relationships. They're like, oh, my husband and I are fighting all the time right now. He's so lazy. Okay, that's never the case, by the way. I would never say that. I'm just using realistic examples. Or someone that says, I have got to figure out how to praise my husband for what he's doing. To trade expectation for appreciation and communicate better to express my needs and wants. And this is part of the shift that I went through where I really grew, you know, and instead of just saying, I'm never going to be able to make money because nutritionists don't make a lot of money, or I'm always going to have this capped ceiling, said, you know what, if I want to make a lot of money and I want to say yes to all the things I'm saying no to, I have to think differently, I have to act differently, I have to do something differently. And I want you guys to really own that and just say, what areas of your life are you loving, and celebrate them? Like, celebrate them. I did that, right? Like, you totally deserve that. But at the same point, the radical responsibility, because no one can take that glory away from you, is you can't blame anybody. So when stuff is not going right, like, look yourself in the darn mirror and be like, what do I have to do differently? What do I have to learn? Who do I have to meet? How do I need to grow to really get to where I want to be? So I'm going to dive into what I love, my 8 unsexy habits, because where this came from is I went from this total rags to riches. Okay. I had $17 in my name and I was 100 grand in debt. You know, I was working my booty off in all these jobs, to suddenly I was having a lot of success and I was being described as an influencer, and the company I'm with was like putting me on stages, and everybody said, how did you do it, Lauren? Tell me what you're doing. And I was like, I don't know. Right? Like, I really don't know. And it happened so fast. And everybody thought I had this like secret potion and I could just like pass it on. But honestly, fast forward into it a few years, and I was working with a life coach, and it was when I was writing my book. And she said to me, Lauren, if you don't tell people where you came from, if you're not vulnerable, you're going to be unrelatable. And you honestly have to figure out how to share with people what you did, because the inspiration is going to be lost if it doesn't duplicate. And so I spent a lot of time reverse engineering what I thought I was doing to say, okay, I think I have it. I think I can give you the steps to run on. Here's the tracks that I did. And I'm going to go through these. But what I want you to realize is that the success is the sum of the small efforts repeated day in and day out. This is not something that, oh, I did it once and voila, you know, it's that whatever you are doing consistently is going to show up. And I want to just tell you right now, being inconsistent, you're still consistent. You're consistently inconsistent, but whatever it is, you are going to see everything magnetized of what you're doing or you're not doing. So my first unsexy habit of highly successful people is to wake up early. Okay. I mean, I literally, if it's not 5 a.m., definitely by 6 a.m. There's a lot of reasons to do this, but one of them is that you get to block out time for yourself. You know, nobody is blowing up my phone at 5 in the morning. 9 a.m., I got a lot of alerts going on, okay? But at 5 a.m., I can do my gratitude. I can do my intention statements. I can get a workout in without the notifications going on. When I have set my tone for the day, or I've seen other people do this, you show up in a way that you are being proactive instead of reactive. And what I mean by that is, if people are hitting you with things, you're not on the defense. You can pause, you can respond, or you're not thinking like, oh my God, I don't want to respond to that. I still have to go to the gym, because you've already taken care of that. And when you allot that time to work on you, you show up as the best version of yourself. You're more energized, you're more positive. If I were to tell you guys what I've already done in 4.5 hours this morning, most people would be like, what? But that's what fires me up. And that's what excites me. And that's what allows me to show up in a way that I'm excited and I'm enthusiastic. And I want you to just think about the phrase, this comes from Gary Vee, that I don't have enough time for that. Change that to, it's just not that important to me. So when I talk to people and I'll say, you know, I think it's really important that you read a little bit more. I need you to work on your skill set. And like, oh, I just don't have time to read. And I say, okay, it's just not that important to you then. People say they don't have time to work out, when they don't have time to volunteer. It's just not that important to you. And we all got that, right? You felt that little like, ooh, like you don't really want to say that. You'll see that there's suddenly more time to do the things that you want. The second, y'all, is to read. So I will be the first to tell you I was not a reader. I mean, I literally skid through high school with like Cliff Notes, or like getting an underclassman to like help me out. But I remember listening to a friend of mine, a mentor of mine, that read 30 books in 30 days, and what that did and how it helped him with philanthropy and how it helped him with learning a new skill set. And I thought, okay, well, I cannot read 30 books in 30 days, but I was like, I will read one a month. Even if I read 12 books a year, how much different that was from where I was. So the average person is reading 1 to 2 a year. The average CEO reads 60 a year. One of the things that I committed to was, okay, I'm going to read 10 pages first thing in the morning and 10 pages at night. That was something that I said, regardless of how many chapters or how many books, when I'm doing my morning routine and I do my intentions and I do my gratitude, I read 10 pages. And then at night, after we've had dinner with the family, my husband is like, our thing is to like have a glass of wine and, watch a show or something. And I said, we have to read our 10 pages. And then, after we have done that, then we can kind of relax and unplug. But the idea of reading is you're growing, you're learning, you're thinking differently, plus you're actually stimulating the neural pathways in your brain, which is great for youthful aging. So my third unsexy habit is to exercise consistently. There's so many mental benefits. There's so many things around confidence, but just by moving your body, not only are you going to burn more calories and have more lean body mass, but you are more energetic. When I do a lot of calls, I'm like walking around, I'm standing, I'm outside, because people can feel that energy. If people are asking me about what I'm doing, I'm like, oh yeah, I just came back from this conference and it was really good. And it was really informative. Like nobody cares, but when I have like exercise and my adrenaline's up, my endorphins are up, I'm like, oh my gosh, it was amazing. Like next year when you're there with us, and people are like drawn into this excitement and enthusiasm. And a lot of that stimulates from your body, from getting moving. I love to do it first thing in the morning, by 5 o'clock at night, I'm like ready for that little glass of Prosecco, or to put my yoga pants on and not to sweat, but to kind of chillax. But figure that out. If that's a walk on your lunch break, if that's a hike, if it's jumping rope, if it's a spin class, whatever it does, but just know that there is a lot of research behind successful people that exercise compared to those that do not. So I'm a big fan of writing goals down. I know some people are like, oh God, I hate goals. What if I don't hit them, right? I know there's a big personality type that is like fearful of disappointing people. There is significant research, y'all, significant on people's growth and success if they write them down. So there's a famous study from people out of Harvard, and basically the 3% that wrote down their goals compared to the 97 that did not were 10 times more successful than the ones that didn't. So I don't care if they make you uncomfortable or they're a little like, I don't know where to do this from. I think it's really key, and the data will show you. I mean, do you want to be the 97% that were left behind, or part of the 3% that was moving forward? I have a whole nother talk, and if you guys are ever curious, you can reach out to me and I'll send you the recording specifically on goal setting and the language around it, and to make sure that they are time specific, that they're realistic, that there's no negative language, and figuring out how with your personality type, how to write goals in a way that are uplifting and not deflating. But I personally think there should be areas of goals in your finances, in your relationships, in your health, and in your business. Those are the 4 quadrants that I write them on. And I also break them down like a big plan, like 5 or 10 years from now. And then we go annually, quarterly, monthly, and then I have weekly targets. And I'm on track, right? And I have them up on my vision board. I have them on a whiteboard. I write them in my intentions. I'm speaking them into the universe. I talk about them in a present tense, like it's already happened, and not just with the business. Right? This is all areas of your life. And when you think about how this very much works, if you've ever met a bride who's planning her wedding, she will talk to you with every detail covered like it already happened, right? They know the colors, they know the flowers, they know the music, they know everything. And that's why it comes to fruition, because so much effort goes into that. And when you look at that in your business and you say, okay, this is how many team members I want to have, this is the income, this is the amount of stages I want to speak on, whatever that is, and you start talking to people in a way that it's already happened, that you raise that vibration because you're feeling it, you're celebrating it, all of that, that's what begins to shift the needle. So people are like, I'm just going to write it down. I'm going to make $1.2 million this year. And they just stick it on a sticky note. Like, no, you're not. Like, there are very much things that have to happen from that and deduct down to it. And that's where this disconnect is. So the 5th unsexy habit of highly successful people is to find a mentor. The average millionaire has 7 types of mentors. So I started to think about, okay, I have my life coach, I have my book coach, I have my speaking coach, I have my mentor in my network marketing business. I had done some Tony Robbins training, and all these different things. And the idea of a mentor is they have the path to success. Like, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You don't have to do it all on your own. Plug into people that have already done it or love teaching other people how to do it. So I do think masterminds are great. I do think events are great, but to actually hire someone, here's the difference. If it's free, you're going to not take it as seriously, but guess what? They aren't either. When you have a little bit of skin in the game and you pay for someone, you will do the task, but they're also going to be invested in you. They're going to take it more seriously. So I've gotten advice from people, and I'm grateful for all of the complimentary, tips I've gotten along the way. But if someone were to say, how did I land a TEDx talk? My very first application, my very first time of doing it, I'm like, I hired one of the best speaking coaches out there who happens to sit on a TEDx board. This is what she does. I mean, I would have had no clue. And if you know anything about a TED talk or a TEDx talk, they're not like most talks, so I'm like, I could spend years researching it, reading 10X for Dummies, applying to all over the places. Or I said, let's go, and I invested in her and it was amazing. And we did the bucket list item. But a lot of people are not wanting to spend in certain activities like this. It's going to come back tenfold. Absolutely. It's coming back 10X, but you have to be willing to put a little bit in to gain a lot in return. My sixth unsexy habit is positive self-talk. Y'all say the worst things to yourself. I'm guilty too. Okay. Like, we literally say things you would not say to anybody else. And we think them, we feel them, and it's about to be like, I am not doing that. You would never look at a kid and say that. You would never look at your significant other. But why do we do that to ourselves? So I want you to stay humble. We don't need to be running around like arrogant narcissists, but confident, just think about what happens in our brain. We cannot control the thoughts. They come in all the time. Many people in my circle of life right now know that I'm going through IVF. Putting on jeans when you're going through ovarian stimulation is not a great process, right? So I get it, right? I put on the jeans. I'm like, oh my God, those are a little tight right now. But that's a weed in my garden. I got to want that. So I'm like, okay, I'm plucking you out. You don't belong here. And then I get to plant the new seed of like, my body is so healthy and I am doing everything I can to nurture and grow a healthy baby. And you get to replant the new flower that you're planting there. And that can happen in all areas. Sometimes we open up social media at the wrong time and it's immediate comparison. You're like, oh man, she got another speaking gig, or, oh, she just got a new car. Like, whatever happens, you're like, no, not today. You just get to pluck that, and then you plant a new one and you say, you know what? In every day, in every way, I'm getting better. Every day in every way, I'm learning something. Every day in every way, I'm getting more towards my financial goals. Like, you get to do that for yourself and for others, and start in little areas. Have you guys ever seen someone get a compliment? It's dismissed. Like, if someone handed me a gift and I was like, no, thanks, I don't need that. That's what you do. Someone says, oh my gosh, I love your shoes. They're like, oh, these old things, they were on sale from TJ Maxx. Like, why just not say thank you? Like, oh, thank you. Do you want me to tell you where I got them from? Like, imagine if we all responded that way. And so just think about in areas where you can catch yourself and redirect it. My seventh unsexy habit for highly successful people is don't worry about failure. If I need to be the one to tell you right now that you're going to screw up, okay, you're going to screw up, and not just once. You're going to continue to screw up. That's a part of the process. But it's where you're learning. So nobody learns from their successes. Nobody. You have got to learn from the struggles and the hardships. But if you look at any professional athlete, nobody is tracking their missed shots. Nobody. They're tracking the 3-point dunks. They're tracking the home runs. They're tracking the touchdowns. But there's a lot of missed shots along the way. But this is where you build resiliency. This is where you say, you know what? I didn't get it. I'm going to do it again. I didn't get it. I'm going to do it again. You guys, one of my signature talks, I can't even tell you how many times I wrote that, and I would apply and they were like, no, thank you. No, thank you. No, and again, working with the coach. And by the time we nailed it, like now when I apply, I get accepted and it's paid, but that took a lot of practices. It took a lot of times. When I think about my husband, and every single day, I am like so grateful that I have this amazing man in my life. Oh man, I was a bad picker. I was 37 when I met him. I mean, that's a little old for 3 sisters who were married, but I would go through all of those bad dates all of the not right boyfriends to look at him every day and say, I appreciate you because of the hardship, because of the way I hadn't been treated. So it's just to be able to say, I'm going to take the risk. And even if it doesn't work out, I'm going to learn and I'm going to grow along the way. So my 8th unsexy habit is what I call Gus. And I actually got that from my speaker coach. I didn't name it myself, but it's God, universe, and spirit. And that is just to be able to say, you know, whoever you believe your creator is or how we got here, I'm encompassing to all of that. There's something greater than ourselves. And it's being able to truly be the energy you want to attract, you know, buzzing around, focusing on everything that you have instead of things that you don't want. It is being able to practice gratitude every single day in every single way. So when I was on that floor of that apartment with $17 to my name, and I was bitching and I was complaining and I was stressed out and just not in a great place, this woman who had shown up in my life that was magnanimously, you know, sweeping me underneath her wings. I literally call her my like real life godmother. And she was listening to all the negativity come out of my mouth. And she says, I need you to write out 10 things you're grateful for right now and call me back. And I got off the phone. I was like, what is wrong with this woman? You know, I was like, I'm not writing down 10 things I'm grateful for. What's that going to do? But then I thought, okay, I really want her to work with me. And so I started thinking about it. So I'm grateful that I have my car. It's going to take me to all these jobs. I'm grateful that I'm in an apartment and I'm inside, even though I don't have a lot of things in it. And I'm grateful for social media. So I'm going to be able to connect with all these people. And I felt this shift. Right? I was like, oh my gosh, like I literally could feel my focus and I could feel a vibrational change. And I was like, I get it. And that was like the beginning of how I show up every day. But I wake up, and if you guys were here, you can ask him. Anyone that stays with me thinks I'm nuts, but then they adopt the practice. First thing in the morning, like the snooze goes off, the alarm goes off, and I said, baby, what are you grateful for? My husband's like, you know, I want to sleep. I'm like, what are you grateful for? He's like, I'm grateful I have someone as happy as you first thing in the morning. You know, we make our French press and, you know, we're buzzing around getting ready in the morning. I said, you know, what else are you grateful for? And sometimes it's like, I'm grateful for the puppy. I'm grateful for our house. I'm grateful for my interview. I'm grateful for this. But it's everything. I put my feet on the floor and I say, I'm so grateful that I get to go downstairs and get on the Peloton. I'm so grateful I have someone like Marta in my life that is going to, you know, cheer me on rough days. I'm so grateful for a team of people that I don't have to commute into work. I am so grateful that I get to send a thank you note today to an amazing customer of mine. I'm so grateful for our beautiful yard. I'm so grateful for coffee. And you just start to do this, that when you are out and about, people have no idea what you do, but you become a magnet. And I look back and I was a shield. You guys, I had such a wall around my heart and such a wall around my vulnerability, that terse person that was like, I got to go here and I have to do this. I remember walking down like an aisle at King Soopers to get an item, or, you know, going into a coffee shop and literally people like moving away and just being like, that chick's in a hurry, you know? Where now, like, I'm standing there and people will approach me and say, I wanted to come up and talk to you. And like, you have a really nice smile. And I'm just curious, what do you do? And I think, like I used to not be that way, but that's how I show up because I care about people and I buzz around in a way that people know they can come to me and I want to offer something to them. And so if you're posting on social media and you're going, man, I posted every day this week and no one has reached out to me, it has nothing to do with the content that you're putting up there. It has to do with the energy behind it. And if you're posting because you're feeling like that's what you have to do because that's the way you're going to get business, wake up call. It's not going to happen. But if the, you know, content has some spelling errors and some imperfections, but it came from a place of excitement and genuineness and passion and purpose, you're going to have your inboxes flooded. You know, where do these people even come from? Because you have alignment. So just on those 8, you know, unsexy habits, you can put this in the chat if you want a little bit of accountability from your amazing coach Marta or someone in here, or just kind of write it down. If you are saying, you know what, one of the areas I can work on is my positive self-talk. You know, one of the areas I can work on right now is the energy I want to attract. I mean, thinking about those 8 unsexy habits and saying, where can I shift the needle today? Where can I be just 1% better? And where can I start to step into that you're in flow, that you are, you know, enjoying what you're doing and things are just falling into place without this level of force. And so the last thing I will tell y'all is that I have been described as someone who takes radical action. When I look back at times in my life and Marta, she sat in when I do the talk on your own comfort zone is the key to your untapped success. But at 17 years old, I was deep into drugs and alcohol. I was told that I wasn't going to graduate from high school. And I remember a guidance counselor saying to me, Lauren, you're probably the smartest person in your graduating class. And right now we have to look at a GED for you. And I was thinking, what? You know, I mean, even though I had screwed up my whole high school life, all of a sudden there was like a disconnect on, I was not a GED person. And I like made the decision, and I not only graduated, I got out a semester early. Then I went on to college, 2 bachelors, a minor with honors. I mean, this like insane shift. My family was like, what happened to Lauren? And who is this person that showed up? And similarly, I had $17 to my name, 100 grand in debt. I made 7 figures in just under 5 years. And people said, you know, what happened? Like, you know, how did you do that? And so in my book, Get Off the Curb, I break down how important it is to take action. I can't even tell you guys how often I hear like, well, when I learn this, I will do that. Like, you're not going to get the clarity and then take action. You do the action to get the clarity and to learn what it is. And so I have this fun little acronym to help you just remember the things that will hold you accountable, that will really get you into the arena when you're taking the action. And so the very first one is accountability. You guys, if I say, I'm going to the gym at 5 o'clock in the morning, right? I'm going to be on the treadmill at 5 o'clock, deep dive into my Peloton workout. That might not happen. I'm up by 5. I'm not actually working out by 5. But if I'm meeting Marta, right? We say, okay, we're going to be there. We're going to be at, Planet Fitness at 5 o'clock in the morning. Well, I'm in the parking lot at 4:45 a.m., right? I'm not going to not be there for her. And so when you think about the accountability, how important that is. If I tell someone, hey, I'm applying to get on the TEDx stage, I really want to do this talk. If I don't tell anybody, once I put it out there, then someone goes, hey, how'd it go? Did you apply? What's happening? Like, tell me more. So I think accountability is huge. And when I say accountability, someone who really wants you to be the best version of yourself. I talk to people all the time about their accountability partners, which are really enablers. That is not the same. Okay, your accountability partner, when I think about a coach, that is the person that is making you fulfill your potential. Okay. The second is be coachable. So if my mentor had told me that I would max out our compensation plan or whatever, but I had to make snow angels in the middle of July or January naked, I would have done it. I would have been out in the parking lot like, okay, I'm ready. I mean, that's how coachable I was. But when you hire a mentor, do what they say. If you're looking at people that have done what you want, follow the tracks to run on. Success leaves clues. I can't even tell you how many people reach out to me and say, hey, I want to work with you. I want to do what you're doing. And then I say, okay, do this. And they're like, oh, no, I'm too busy. I'm like, okay, so were you serious when you said that you wanted to do this? I mean, be coachable, put into practice. You guys, I used to be 40 pounds heavier and 80 inches heavier than I am now. If I knew how to do it on my own, it would have worked, right? I was a nutritionist. I was a trainer. It's hard to look at yourself sometimes and do it. I mean, I was much bigger and I was much unhealthier. So when I hired someone and they said, do this, I wasn't like, oh, no, I'm not going to follow your plan, even though I've got it myself. I mean, if you're going to hire someone, be coachable. The third is time management. You've got to compartmentalize your schedule and block it off. So when I was waiting tables, I couldn't do nutritional consulting. And when I was doing nutritional therapy, I obviously couldn't do personal training. So that was a skill set that came pretty easily to me. But I work with a lot of entrepreneurs and a lot of people. And it's like they have another job or they have kids schedules or they have family time or whatever it may be. And it's like, I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it next week. And guess what? You're going to be setting New Year's resolutions by 2023 for the same crap that you said you were going to do in 2022 because you didn't treat your schedule like it mattered. I mean, I literally will ask people, show me your calendar, and it is a direct relationship to the bank account. Like, let me see what's happening and be really clear to it. If people invite me out and they're like, hey, Taco Tuesday, everybody come down. I'm like, no, I've got stuff to do. And sometimes it means saying no to the short-term wins, really for the long-term investments. You know how many Taco Tuesdays I've had or there's going to be? Like, come on, we don't need another Taco Tuesday. Because what's more important to me was the fact that when my dad was super sick, I was one of his caregivers. I was no longer exchanging time for money. And I was there every single day because I had built a business that was going to pay me over and over and over. Do you think that Taco Tuesdays is something I'm missing? Or do you think if I had not have had the time to be with my dad, that's what I would have been missing? Build your business and your schedule like your life depends on it, okay? Then your income producing activities. I see this all the time. People will block off. Like, I'm just gonna, throw out a business name out there, right? Like you're building Fuel for Life. That was my nutrition business. But then what do you do in that time? I listened to a podcast. I spent some time on Instagram. Okay, well, I'm glad you weren't also at the gym or you weren't watching TV, but like, what are you doing? And this is back to the goal setting. How many calls are you making? How many follow-ups are you doing? How many events are you doing? How many, calls with your team members that you're building community, building culture, whatever it is that you are doing. So when I work closely with someone and they block off, okay, here's when I'm building my business, I will ask them, how many people did you call in that time? How many Zoom presentations did you do? How many events have you had this month? Whatever that looks like, because there's only so much learning you can do. And then you have to get into the arena. You actually have to start applying it. And then we're back to be okay to fail forward. It might suck at first. You might miss some shots. Not everybody you talk to is going to close with you, but you're going to get better and you're going to learn the skill set. My next little piece of this is be open to opportunities. Nobody is getting lucky. You guys, all the time, someone's like, oh my gosh, well, she just happened to meet that one person, or it's because we all have doors opening for us, okay? One closes, another one opens. I mean, there are incredible people out there that you can connect with, incredible experiences, but it's you saying, I'm open to the opportunity. It's saying yes to things that you don't want to. I think back at some times that I was invited to a networking group. I'm like, man, that's like 75 minutes away. Like, I really don't want to go to that. But had I not gone, I would not have met my book coach. I mean, I remember the day I met her and I was like, that is why I'm supposed to be here. And there was an opportunity that was there. There's times that I was introduced to someone and then invited to speak on a stage that was paid. And I thought if I didn't put myself out there, I wouldn't have had the opportunity. That you will miss those options that are happening to everybody if you're hiding behind your computer every single day. If you're in that mundane, you're not asking for referrals, you're not doing things that are new, you're not surrounding yourself with the people that you want to be around, you will miss them. If you want to be around high vibing, high successful, high, be driven people, where do they hang out? Put yourself there that you can say, this is what I'm able to do. Can you teach me something? Can you show me something? And the last piece of this is going to the next level. You guys, I know that people describe me as extra, but you know what? That's the piece in ordinary that I'm really freaking proud of. So if people want to mock me that I get up at 5 a.m, I don't really care because I don't suffer like I used to. I get dressed up almost every day. People say, why are you so dressed up to work from home? And I say, because it makes me feel confident. I feel really excited about what I'm doing. If I get on a Zoom and I'm sitting here like, oh, I should have put on makeup or I should have done this, I'm not my best version. Now, does everybody have to do that? No, that's for me. When I think about next level, I show up, people say, how are you? Outstanding. How are you? I'm good. Like what? Like, I'm not living my dream life if I'm good, and that's what I'm thinking about. Go to the next level, be bold. Who's ever on your chicken list that you haven't reached out for, what are you waiting for? I tell people all the time, if you don't reach out to them, someone else will, and you're going to regret that. When you see them join an organization, you're like, oh, I really wanted to call that person. Then do it. Right? What is the worst that's going to happen? Whether they're in your business right now or they say no to you, it can't get any worse. Just take it, because the best side is they go, hell yeah, thank you for reaching out to me. So when you are like, how do I get here? How do I go to the next level? What do I need to do to shift this needle to scale and beyond, which is what Marta wanted to focus on. Have accountability, be coachable, practice your time management, make sure in that time you're doing income producing activities. Stay open to the opportunities and 10x everything. Go to the next level. I promise you, it is not competitive there. So the last thing I'll just leave you with is that I saw an amazing keynote speaker over the weekend, and I am so in love with this. I'm just going to be telling everybody about it. His name is Jesse Itzler. He was the founder of Vico Coconut Water. He's married to the woman who founded Spanx. Look him up. He's incredible. But he talked about how very few billionaires there are in the world, especially then if you get into women and minorities. He said, but I was fortunate enough to be raised by a spiritual billionaire. And fast forward, the point of that, it's all around customer care and it's all around your passion. And he said, you know, you can have $1 billion in a $1 billion business, but if you don't give a crap about people, right, you times that by 0, then what are you? There's 0 net worth. He said, but if you only have $1, you only have 1 customer, you know, but you show up with $1 billion of love, $1 billion of this spiritual positive energy. Imagine if we all were running around like spiritual billionaires. And I cannot take credit for this. Again, his name is Jesse Itzler, but I landed on me so hard. And I thought, you know, I have a whole team of people, I have 30,000 people. If we all adapted this spiritual billionaire, if we all adapted this mindset of I am going to really care about people, I'm going to build the most authentic relationships, I'm going to spread joy, I'm going to give it everything I have, I'm going to say yes to things, I'm going to care more about other people than myself, I'm going to be there when people need me. Think about how we all would grow. Think about the problems that we could solve today. And I believe so wholeheartedly that that is really the key that's missing in a lot of businesses. So I wanted to just briefly show you that I've got an event coming up. Marta knows Emma as well. Marta, I'm going to send this to you only because there's a discount. I have tickets that are only $49. So if you want to come see us or learn more about what we're doing, I have a discount specific for Marta's group today. And then if you want to connect with me on social or find my website, I just make it easy. You can take a screenshot or write that down. But truly, it was a joy to be here. And thank you so much for having me. I'm going to stop the share and be available for any questions or anything like that. But thank you all so much.
Thank you. This was so great. Lauren, can you stay a little bit past 10?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, awesome. Just for the sake of time. There were a couple of questions, so I'll go from the end so it's easier. What was the name of the billionaire guy, Jesse?
Itzler. I can type it.
Okay. And then I'll look into some other stuff. Let's see. So I love the idea of the goals. I said I'm going to create a thread in our group for us to keep each other accountable. Something that Liz said had to do with like self-sabotage of writing goals, like, because I said, I put it in the chat that sometimes we don't write goals because we're afraid we're not going to reach them. So that's one of the, ways we resist it. But it could also be, Liz pointed out, writing it at times contributes to me self-sabotaging. And I would love to hear your take on this or your thoughts on that, how to curb that or mindset shift. I don't know.
How to, like, by putting it out there that you immediately.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I followed exactly what you asked me. I'm sorry. Say it again.
Yeah, I feel like it triggers my self-sabotage when I like put it out there. Like I'm really good with affirmations. I feel like putting myself in that energy, I can do that, works for me better. But if I sometimes put a really specific goal out there, sometimes I sabotage it. Like if I write it down, like if keep it in my head, I'm more likely to do it. If I write it down, sometimes it's like almost like I have this rebellious personality where I'm like, don't tell me what to do. I don't even want me to tell me what to do,
Yeah. So, I think, just thinking things is one step. And I understand what you're saying. I think I'm going to repeat back something with a different analogy to make sure that I'm following. But you'll hear people say that as soon as they start a diet, then all of a sudden they want to eat everything underneath the sun. Right. Like no one is craving stuff. They're like, oh, I'm starting a diet on Monday. And then they're like, I'm never going to have a brownie again. I'm never have a piece of pizza. Right. And then all of a sudden, like all you want to eat is all the things you haven't done. And I think that happens with money too. Right. Or whatever it is. People say, I'm going to save XYZ amount of money. And suddenly like all the spending temptations come up. But now part of that, I would go back to the accountability, because to have someone that would help you with that. But then there's this concept of the why, right? Which we've probably all heard in different ways. Like, why is that important to you, or why are you doing it? And that's where I think you start to make the shift. So we all have our comfort zone. We all have our habits. We all have our routines. And there is Rod, what is his name? He was a Tony Robbins trainer. I'll think about this, Marta, get you the name. Rod. This is going to drive me crazy. But he talks about the cycle of growth. And so if it goes like here and it goes like a circle and you end up here, this beginning part is inception, where it's this like vision of like, oh my gosh, I'm going to do something, right? And almost immediately, like when you slide down the hill, is deception. And that's all the like, nope, you're not good enough. Nope, it's not going to happen, right? And it's like where that self-sabotage comes in. But then by the intention statements, by the gratitude, by creating new habits, by doing something, that's when you begin to come out of it. And the end is the new identity. And so we all fall into it. I mean, I don't think you're alone with that you declare it, and then all the resistance holds you back. But that's really where the work comes in. And that's where, when you recognize the self-sabotage, that you're not succumbing to it, and you're beginning to shift and create that new habit. So I used to smoke cigarettes. I know people can't even imagine that I used to do it, but I started very young. I started 3 older sisters, right? So I started really in about like 6th grade, but I was very addicted. I mean, I smoked a pack of cigarettes all through high school and the beginning of college. And I remember thinking, like, I'm going to quit smoking. I was going to this honors awards ceremony, and I thought, oh my gosh, at one point, everybody that I hung out with smoked, and it was super cool, right? Like, people I waited tables with in high school, and I hung out at the smokers area in my high school. And for the first time in my life, I thought, I don't want to be the smoker. Like, I don't want to be around these honors thing. And I don't want to be that. It was like, that was the bad kid. And now I was the good kid. And I was doing all the research and how I was going to quit smoking. And I like remember the day, and that was my last cigarette, and I put it out there. But all the areas that I would smoke, and there was like, one of the number one triggers was in my car, right? As soon as I got in my car, I would smoke, and I would call my mom, and I would say, Mom, whatever we do, make sure I do not smoke a cigarette. Like, stay on the phone with me until I get to my destination. And then, of course, you know, weeks and months later, I would get in my car and I wouldn't even think about it anymore. And I was like, oh my gosh, for like 7 years, every time I got in my car, I lit up a cigarette. To now, I would never obviously think about that, but it happened quickly. But it's putting the things in place that you act differently, so then you think differently. So with food, sometimes that is having a pantry clean out, you know, sometimes it's going to different restaurants. Sometimes it's, you know, putting boundaries in place where I'm only going to have something on a Saturday, or whatever that looks like. But I don't think you're alone, but it has to say, you know, I want something so differently that I'm willing to do what's differently. And no one said it's easy. Absolutely no one said it's easy, but the drive to say, you know, the pain of where I'm in is outweighing, you know, the results, that's when people shift. And it doesn't happen right away.
Mhm.
I just want to, I'm always talking, Lauren. So what I want to take from what she was saying too is, I think a lot of times that when you're making those kind of changes, one, like she said, you might eat a lot before you do it, for example, but I think it's important for you to be continuously reinforcing your message, because sometimes Lauren might say something and I'll hear it and it wouldn't matter. But then I hear it 3 or 4 times later and I'm in that right space. I'm like, yeah, I'm ready to do that. And I think a lot of us don't keep on going and reaching out. We just think, oh, they didn't respond because they didn't like me. No, they didn't respond because it got buried or whatever, you know? So I think it's just really important, if you have something very clear, like what she does, or, you know, whatever you're working on, that you just keep being authentic in yourself. And like she said, maybe you make a live and it isn't perfect. Maybe you do a podcast last week and your daughter is doing Rush at sorority and no one can edit it. And you just hope that it was good. That was last week, right? Perfectly imperfect. So I think that if you just remember that part, I think that's really important, to just be able to be ready and open when you're ready to do those things. So thank you so much for being here today, Lauren.
Oh, you're welcome. I love that. I think that's a great little tip of advice.
And I love your dress. You look adorable in green.
Oh, it's just a shirt, actually. I'm in white jeans.
Oh, it's super
Are you
cute.
in Colorado? Are you in Denver?
I'm in Virginia,
Oh.
but I normally live in Idaho. I'm Air
Got
Force right now.
Well, anyone in Denver is from Stitch Boutique. My friend Mo owns it.
Well, I wanted to come and I had to reschedule, but I'm going to come back there and see everyone. So
We're campaigning for a transfer to Colorado Springs.
Ooh,
please. We closer to
Lauren, what's
home
the name
too,
of the-
right?
What's the name of the store that your friend's store?
Liz is in Colorado.
Stitch Boutique. And she has a online too.
Stitch at
Oh.
like an S, like.
Yep, I just put it in there.
Oh, cool.
Oh, nice.
Cute. Okay.
Jen had said, what is your favorite exercise to connect to Gus?
Ooh, that's a really good one. So first of all, I will just say that everybody is different with this. And I totally respect that everyone has their own beliefs and things around that. To put this into perspective, I had a Jewish dad, an atheist stepmom, and my mom and stepdad are Catholic. So like I grew up, I was like, your books don't say the same thing, you know, like who's telling the truth around here. But one of the things for me is I definitely do some meditation and I do my intentions. And that is just to allow things to like come up, to try and have some clarity around that and just really decide what I want to focus on. I'm a big yogi, you know, and I know at the end Shavasana, people want to like, you know, hop out and just like, I'm ready. I got to go on with my day. And that used to be me, but just to be there and to feel that and to allow the energy of other people and the breath to heal your body and go into that. I'm big in some devotional stuff. So I do read some Christian faith-based things. I listen to either worship sometimes in the morning, or I'll listen to like a recorded service. My husband and I are a little bit different with stuff like that. That's usually in my time, but anything that gets me to think differently, that is those lessons that just kind of like pulls me in. But my morning routine every single day, and even when I'm on vacation, I mean, every single day is I do some type of meditation, my gratitude, my intentions. I read, I listen to something, and I exercise. And so like I shower and get ready every single day. I listen to a podcast. I have my Bose speaker like in the shower. And so I listen to something every day. And there are many temptations where I'm like, oh, I really would rather listen to like Keith Urban right now. But that's the time, because I don't like to do it in the car because I don't know when someone's going to call me. I don't like to do it when I'm cooking dinner because then I get interrupted. And that's just the time that I say, you know, I have 30 to 60 minutes every day when I get ready that I can listen to something. And then I have a new soundbite or a new perspective, and I change it up all the time. And I listen to Gary Vee, and I listen to Ed Milet, and I listen to Oprah, and I listen to, you know, Grant Cardone, and I listen to, you know, people from Shark Tank, like all kinds of things. But often in there, you know, I'll listen to Joel Osteen, or I'll listen to Craig Pascal, or whoever that may be. But for a lot of that, it's in my exercise, and at the end of it, the recovery when I do the meditation, and I just read and do the devotional daily with my gratitude.
Nice. Lots of different ideas there. Does anybody have anything? You have to go. All right. Well, thanks so
Thanks,
much.
Lauren.
And everyone connect with Lauren, Instagram, Facebook. She's in all the places. Anybody? I thought of something and it completely escaped me. Oh, Liz had asked, what about audiobooks? Do you feel like that is also productive, Lauren?
I do and I don't. So in terms of like strengthening the neuroplasticity and actually like working on your brain, it's not the same as actually having to read and track your eyes, just from like a neurological standpoint. And I also think that when you're listening to something, you're not absorbing as much because you're probably multitasking, right? Like you're doing something else, you're listening to it and driving, you're listening to it and cooking or whatnot. I would encourage that over nothing. And I know a lot of people that works great for them. And I think you're still going to get some great sound bites, but I think it's much different than when you actually sit down and shut everything off and just read. So one of my favorite books, Excuse Me, Your Life is Waiting. I love that. I read that, but that is something that audiobook is playing. And there's just sometimes I'm like, all right, we need to listen to a few chapters, you know, and so I have that on deck. So I do use them. I do love them. Secrets of a Millionaire Mind is another one. You know, I read it. I did all the exercises, you know, I did the activities in it. But when there's sometimes I'm like, okay, we're spending a lot right now. Let's play that. Let's make sure that, you know, we're staying focused on things that I do have on deck. So I would never tell someone not to do it. But at my core, I think that actually sitting down and reading is the most beneficial for a multitude of reasons.
Definitely. Well, and I think too, because to me at times I resist reading because it's forced slow down. I can't be doing anything else. And it's like, it's better than nothing with the Audible, but it's not the same because you're forced to rest, so to speak, your mind to be focusing on that. And there can be so much resistance because it feels like you're not doing anything. I'm not doing anything. Oh, it's so crazy. Well, I did want to say something else because I remembered in my network marketing days, following this one person that was super inspirational in the company that I was in. And I remember she would always talk about gratitude and say, you know, have you started your day with gratitude? And I was like, I don't understand. Like, what does she do? How different is it that what she's doing with gratitude is actually impacting her business? Like, to me, it always seemed like there was that magic action that she was doing that I wasn't doing. And I think oftentimes we have this idea, just like what you were saying, when people are asking you, what did you do? How did this happen? And you're like, oh, I don't know, because it's so simple, but we don't want to hear the simple because we don't want to do the simple. We want, like, there has to be something, some secret that I'm missing. And I was just thinking about this recently, because it's not an immediate thing, right? I'm going to write my gratitude and then the client's going to pop in my inbox, right? And that's kind of what we expect. But on the same hand, I feel like we sabotage in so many ways because it's like, I want 5 people, right? For whatever thing, recruiting or for an offer, I need it for a goal. And then we get that one person and we're super grateful for 5 seconds. And we're like, well, I still need 4. And then we dismiss that that person is a human being and that they matter. And even if it's just that one person this month, and I actually needed 4 more, I can still keep up those feelings of gratitude, but it's just so hard. So I just wanted to throw that out there. See if you have any comments, Lauren, if anybody else has, because we're so used to that immediate, right? I'm going to write my gratitudes. Is it happening right now?
Oh, it's so true. It's so true. And that this was something that took me definitely a long time to condition to do it. And not only when things are going well, but when they're not going well, and really trusting that the universe is always working for you. So there's a book called The Secret that became a movie most people are familiar with. That's kind of a tee into the law of attraction. But the sequel to that, which many people are not familiar with, is called The Magic. And it's a 28-day practice of gratitude around the lunar cycle. So it goes coincides with that. And I really got it when I did that for the very first time. So for example, like when you get a bill in the mail, right? And it's like, oh my gosh, like we all have the one we don't like, right? If it's your mortgage, car payment, the Nordstrom, whatever it is, right? There's something that like it comes every month, you're like, you know, but to be like, I am so grateful that I have money that flows through me with ease, that I can pay this, you know, effortlessly or something like that. And, you know, for like any type of medical issues that it's like, I'm grateful that I have an access to this amazing team of doctors, you know, and I'm doing this right now with the infertility journey, because it's really easy to slide into this, like, why is this happening to me? And, you know, people that don't even want babies have all the babies. Like, I mean, it's very easy to like go down this path. But when I say like, I'm so grateful to be working with Conceptions and Dr. Bush and the best team in Denver, and just to lean into that. And so back to the business standpoint, I mean, I see that all the time in the network marketing. They're like, oh my gosh, like no one's getting back to me. I only enrolled this one. I'm like, okay, well, that one is better than nothing. You better love on them and build that authentic relationship and go meet their family, get to know their dog, know the color of their carpet, and 10x everything you can. Because then that is the universe, that's God saying, okay, she can handle more. You know, she showed me. And if you don't appreciate what you have, you can never be given more. And when you start to appreciate what is, that's when I think the doors open and you are given so much more. But that's with your house, that's with your health. I mean, that's with your business, that's with everything. But when you start buzzing around, and I mean, this is honestly one part of my health transformation. I was so obsessed with losing weight. Everything I did that, you know, my workouts, I never showed up that I was appreciative for my back and my lungs and my heart and my knees, right? I just was like, how hard can I go so that I can lose my 2 pounds this week? And my body was so stubborn. But when I started showing up, that I was like, I'm grateful that I get to be in this hot yoga place right now. Like, I'm so grateful that my body is healthy and I get to devote this time and I get to do this. I mean, weight had never fallen off of me more easily. And I was actually working out less and less intense, but it was the energy that was behind it. And so when you think about anything in your life, you know, even if you want those goals, it's okay to be hungry. I mean, trust me, like I'm goal oriented, you know, I'm money motivated, like I am as red as it comes, if you know the color code, but it's not with an exchange of not appreciating everything that already is. You know, we're building a brand new house right now. I mean, I'm so excited about it, but every single day I'm grateful for the one that we have, you know, and we talk about that. And we talk about the memories in the backyard that we've done. And so I think, Marta, in regards to what you're saying, that as you are staying clear on your focus and those goals and being hungry, like don't skip the beat of really appreciating every single person that is, every single opportunity that is, every single sale that happens, whatever that may be, because when it's taken away, it's too late. And I honestly think people don't realize what they're grateful for until they don't have it. And if you start asking yourself, what if I didn't have this? What if I didn't have that? What if I didn't have this? You suddenly realize what you're taking for granted. And I'll just tell you, like on a kind of like stronger, like more like emotional note, and I don't want to cry, sometimes it makes me cry, but you know, I see something that goes around that says if you're lucky enough to receive, and it shows a picture of a phone, a call from, and it shows like mom and dad today, how lucky you are. Like I would do anything in the world to be able to have my dad call me again, right? Like anything. See, I told you it can't happen. But I also like every single moment we had, like I was so grateful for. You know, my sisters didn't live here and they have grief today in a way that I don't, because when he was so sick, I was taking him to movies. I was hanging out at the house. I was with him the day before he died, you know, and did everything we could. And that's because of all the things that I had put into it, you know? And so when you're thinking about like, oh my gosh, if my sister calls me one more time today, right? Like we all have that. I immediately am like, man, I'm so grateful for I get to talk to my sister today. And it's a perception change and it's an energy shift and I'm not annoyed. And when I have a client that's like texts me out the wazoo, right? I'm like, what in the world do you want right now? That's that immediate check that I go, man, I am grateful for a team of people who are bugging the shit out of me. Right? Like, you know, I'm like, I would have no money if they weren't all bugging me and asking me questions. And so I will help them with their social media posts or help them with a three-way call. But it's a conscious decision to really control what we can't sometimes unconsciously, what is happening, but it's a refocus and redirection.
Yeah. Oh, that's so good. Such amazing advice and reminders as well. Well, we got lots of good feedback from the Facebook group. We had 2 ladies watching on there too, and they love it. Be seen, be heard. What else? I have a client who's amazing at accepting compliments. It's amazing to see that acceptance in action when we're talking about compliments. Amazing. All right. Well, ladies, make sure you connect with Lauren. I will post all the stuff. So yeah, make sure you send me the information on the event so I can post it in our group as well. Thank you so much. This was so good. We thoroughly enjoyed it.
Oh, thank
for
you.
your
Thanks for
time.
having me. And honestly, feel free to reach out at any time. I'm happy to stay in touch over social media. If anyone's in Denver, we can get a cup of coffee. And Marta, thank you so much for having me. You're just a gem.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And for the ladies, I do have a couple of announcements. Let me just let you know real quick, and then I'll post it in the group afterwards as well. I do have the workshop that I'm doing next week for TEDx. And for all of you, so the rate is 55 right now. I am increasing it in a few days just for urgency's sake, but for all of you that are in the school, we're being 55. So reach out to me if you're interested in participating. What else do we have? So next week we don't have a call on Thursday. So I'll see you in September, which is crazy to think about already. I don't know. I don't know if I have anything else, but if I think of something, I will definitely post in the group. But yeah, reach out to Lauren, reach out to me if you have any questions, and I'll talk to you soon. Thank you. Bye.